Hi, these comments are for MG. I am Michael from OTC, OnlineTOEFLCourse.com, and you're doing, it looks like, some integrated speaking practice. And I'm going to listen to your practice test right now. All right, let's get ready. We'll listen to it. I have the integrated speaking rubrics here. I apologize. I think I'm day 6 of the COVID-19 virus. I picked it up. I got tested positive on Sunday. I'm guessing I got it from either Walmart or Best Buy. That's my guess at this point. So if I cough a little bit, you understand why. All right, so let's listen to your integrated speaking practice test.
The passage speaks about how advertisements affect people's behavior. The passage gives an example where voters tend to vote to the persons whom they have seen.
You want to say voters. You want to voters. But in the beginning, in the introduction, state you can state the main idea of the reading and the listening passage. You might say the reading and the listening passage discuss the economic, the political, and the economic effects of advertising, something like that, right? So try to connect the two different sources of the two passages in the beginning, and then that makes a little bit better organization to your ideas.
On television, by 30-second video clips that are being advertised. It clearly states that voters tend to vote to the people whom they are familiar with. The student throws light on the economic factors being influenced by the advertisements.
Okay.
The buyers tend to buy the more familiar products than the unfamiliar products. Familiar products here are the products that they have already seen or are featured in the advertisements. The student agrees that they are affected for the better or the worse, and they need to know beforehand that these advertisements affect them so that they can take more conscious decisions.
Yeah, you did a little bit better with your pacing at the end there. So keep that in mind. I'm going to put you at 2.0 to 2.5. I'm going to say maybe 18 points out of 30. So I think you can improve the introduction I already suggested, right?
The passage speaks about
When you say passage, you want to pronounce that P with more air.
how advertisements affect people's behavior. The passage gives an example where voters tend to vote to the
I would say the author in the passage gives an example of a voter.
persons whom they have seen on television by 30-second video clips that are being advertised.
Yeah, you have too many pauses in there, right? You have to put those ideas together as a longer what we call thought group. So you can work on your thought groups and blending. This is pronunciation lessons 41 through 44.
It clearly states that voters tend to vote to the people whom they are familiar with.
Okay.
The student throws light on the economic factors being influenced by the advertisements.
So maybe consider using a transition where maybe in addition, the student adds light on the idea by blah blah blah.
The buyers tend to buy the more familiar products than the unfamiliar products. Familiar products here are the products that they have already seen or are featured in the advertisements.
Products. Let me listen
The
to this.
more familiar products than the unfamiliar products. Familiar products here are the products that they have already seen.
I would say the products that are already seen, not have already seen. I'll use the word are there. So you want to use passive voice in that case, right? So you have the receiver, the products are already seen by the consumers, right? So that would be the best grammar to use there.
Or are featured in the advertisements. The student agrees that they are affected for the better or the worse, and they need to know beforehand that these advertisements affect them so that they can take more conscious decisions.
Okay. So I think that my score is pretty accurate, so I'm going to say about 17 to 18 points out of 30. So you had some problems with language use forming passive voice, right? So that's one area you can take a look at. If you go to the grammar part of my course, right, there's an area, it's called active and passive voice. You might want to study that, make sure you know how to form passive voice and you know how that's different from active voice. Um, and I think delivery you can improve. I think with thought groups and blending, that's going to help you with pacing, which I think is a significant issue with you right now. And maybe one more area in delivery you can focus on what's called intonation. That's pronunciation lessons 36 through 40. All right, and thank you for doing this practice test.